You're right on time for Hope TV Newswatch on this last day of October 2023. A very good evening to you and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Kimani and my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation tonight is Boniface Murithi. Now to our top story of the day, and King Charles III and his wife Queen Camilla arrived at State House, Nairobi today, where they were welcomed by President William Ruto and First Lady Rachel Ruto. Their Majesties received a formal ceremonial welcome, complete with a 21-gun salute by the military ahead of bilateral talks with President Ruto. Our very own Dolly Murigi begins our bulletin with the following report.
King Charles III and Queen Camilla arrived at State House, Nairobi for a formal ceremonial welcome. The Majesties were received by President William Ruto, First Lady Rachel Ruto, and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi.
Our head of the army.
King Charles and Queen Camilla were honored with a 21-gun salute before planting ceremonial African fan palm trees in State House lawns. The King and Queen were retreated for talks with President Ruto and members of the cabinet. King Charles III proceeded to lay a wreath at the tomb of the known warrior at Uhuru Gardens. Later in the evening, President Ruto hosted the King and Queen for a state banquet. During the four-state visit to Kenya, the King and Queen will visit Nairobi County, Mombasa County and surrounding areas aimed at solidifying Kenya and UK relations. They will also meet Kenya's young tech entrepreneurs and creative. His Majesty the King will also visit the United Nations headquarters. In Mombasa, the King and Queen will visit Mtongwe Naval Base to highlight areas of the collaboration in defense. The Queen will meet survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. This will be the first official visit by King Charles and Queen Camilla to an African nation since their coronation in May 2023. Dolly Murigi for Hope TV, Nairobi.
Thank you so much, Dolly, for that report. Still at it, and King Charles III and his wife Queen Camilla arrived in the country on Monday night for a 4-day state visit and were received by President William Ruto and his wife Rachel Ruto at the Nairobi State House. 60 years since Britain colonized Kenya, Dickens Luvanda gives us a picture of the King's royal visit.
The year 2023 marks 60 years since Kenya gained independence from the shackles of its British colonial rule in 1920, when King George VI, the father of Queen Elizabeth II, took power. December 12th annually is a holiday in Kenya, which is marked in honor of that independence. After his visit to Kenya in 1971, 1978 and 1987 as a prince, the first son of Queen Elizabeth II, Charles Philip Arthur George, who is known as King Charles III, visited Kenya again on October 31st, 2023, accompanied by his wife Camilla. The two boarded a Royal Air Force plane that landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in Nairobi on the night of Tuesday, October 31st, and were received by the head of ministers, who is also the Minister of Foreign Affairs Musalia Mudavadi, alongside the British Ambassador to Kenya, Neil Wigan. The visit is first of its kind to Kenya since he took over the reins from his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, who died in September 2022, and is the first as a monarch in a Commonwealth country. And any comments he makes on the history of British colonialism are expected to be closely monitored, according to analysts. During his 4 days visit, the king is expected to deal with deeply painful issues of Britain's historic relations with Kenya during the British rule, which ended in 1963. This will include the emergency of 1953-1960, when the colonial authorities declared a state of emergency in response to the Mau Mau guerrilla campaign against the European settlers. More than 1,000 people were executed by hanging during the emergency period, and the death toll is estimated to be in thousands. The royal family and the British government are blamed for the disaster left to Kenyans, such as allocation and ownership of large tracts of land to a few rich families. The vast fertile land stretching from central Kenya to the Rift Valley was known as the White Highlands and was owned exclusively by settler farmers. The natives were pushed aside to make way for European farmers to own better and fertile land. The colonial government used its air power and ground forces that included many Kenyans known as home guards to organize brutal crackdown against the Mau Mau. After independence, large pieces of land was given to home guards who collaborated with the colonizers as Mau Mau continued to be seen as a terrorist group. Up to date, the British government continues to be blamed for brutality and atrocities meted on Kenyans. Deacon Sulvanda, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dickens, for that report. Moving on, the impeachment motion against Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza, brought to the Senate by the County Assembly of Meru, will be heard and determined by a way of plenary. This is after a motion to appoint a special committee comprising 11 senators to investigate the proposed removal from office of the governor was this afternoon defeated. The matter will be heard and determined within 10 days, where a total of 7 charges against the governor have been raised. In the meantime, and during the pendency of the impeachment process in the Senate, Senate Speaker Amason Akingi has cautioned senators to desist from publicly commenting on the merits or demerits of the impeachment motion before the Senate. This is the second time the embattled governor is being impeached after surviving the first attempt in December last year.
Act for the removal from office by way of impeachment of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza, the governor of Meru County. The message was transmitted to the Senate via letter reference number M/Volume 4/43, dated Thursday, 26 October 2023, signed by the Speaker of the County Assembly of Meru and received in my office on Friday, 27th October 2023. Now, pursuant to Standing Order 48.5 of the Senate, I shall now report the message to the Senate. This is to inform you that on Wednesday, the 25th day of October 2023, the County Assembly of Meru.
Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino now claims that an Italian tycoon is the original owner of the contested multi-billion land in Njiru. Speaking today during a press conference, the legislator has stated that he has flown the tycoon into the country and will be moving to court to challenge the ownership of the family of the late billionaire Gershon Kirima. Babu Owino has stated that Domenico Di Masi, the original owner of the disputed 1,000 acres of land, is currently in the country. According to him, the said parcel of land acquired by the Italian national in 1966 does not belong to Kirima nor his family.
We, as your members of parliament, we will protect your interest. We will fight for you. This war is far from over. And number one, as members of parliament, it is our right, inherent and inalienable right, to protect you not only religiously but also spiritedly. And because of that, we have found a new owner, the legitimate owner of the said Kirima land. And this parcel of land belonged to one Bernardo De Masi. And that's why we are here today, to ensure that Bernardo De Masi gets what is rightfully his. The Kirimas are people who fraudulently took this said parcel of land from the Domenico's family, who is being represented by one Bernardo De Masi. We want the court to determine who is the rightful owner of the said parcel of land. As that is taking place, we've also appealed the decision by the Environment and the Land Court that was recently out, and to ensure that this appeal even goes up to the Supreme Court. With that, we shall have sufficient time, and together with this case, which we pray that, number one, the rightful owner be determined before residents negotiate, because as we speak, we don't know who the residents are going to negotiate with. We don't know if the residents are supposed to negotiate with the Kirimas family or the Domenicos, the Masis family.
Still in the court, and Pastor Ezekiel Odero of New Life Prayer Center and Church has been released by a Shanzu Magistrates Court after the prosecution said investigations against him had been concluded and the case file could be closed. Chief Magistrate Joe Omido discharged the preacher from the case, which had been instituted by the police through the Directorate of Public Prosecutions in an application seeking his detention pending investigation. On Monday, Ezekiel, through his lawyer Cliff Ombeta, applied to have the matter in which he was being investigated for an array of accusations closed. Omido said, having considered both the prosecution and the defense applications, he had no choice but to discharge Ezekiel.
I hereby proceed to discharge the respondent, Ezekiel Odero, and I discharge in respect of the respondents the orders made on the 2nd of May 2023 and the subsequent ones made on the 4th of May 2023. The cash bail of 1.5 million that was released, that was deposited rather, to be released to the depositor. And this file is now closed.
Information that was conceived wakati ambapo nashikwa was wrong, kwamba nimehusika. Serikali imefanya uchunguzi, wamedhibitisha sijahusika. Sio mimi nimewawekelea wao. Kwa hivyo I'm not angry with anybody. Hakuna mtu amenikosea.
And I'm appealing to the Attorney General, the Registrar of Societies, that you have now seen where you are putting your strength, that the criminal arm is investigating Pastor. There is no criminal investigations on Pastor Ezekiel Odero.
The National Dialogue Committee resumed their talks today at the Bomas of Kenya, with the higher cost of living being the main topic of discussion in the negotiations. Several experts, including the Control of Budget specialist from the Institute of Economic Affairs, as well as the Parliamentary Budget Office, walked the committee through the ways and means of tackling the higher cost of living. Speaking during the talks, Azimio principal and the opposition's lead negotiator in the talks, Kalonzo Musyoka, said that the higher cost of living has and continues to be the foremost concern of the Azimio coalition and their irreducible minimum.
I started by saying, when I made my earlier remarks, that they are hurting. They demonstrated because of the cost of living. And that's why we felt we didn't want to deal with these other issues and then fail to deal with this all-important matter, according to some of us. Okay. So you could recommend, this is without necessarily borrowing Kimani's quick fix, because there can't be any quick fixes. This is something we can do with regard to the taxation regime, because it's always very good when you tax people who are willing or who are able to feel they are part of what you're trying to do to improve their lot.
Is there a bearing as to the way we behave in this country, where in the run-up, a year to the elections, a year after elections, we are not at ease with ourselves? Does that culture of political violence, and that is precisely why we set up this national dialogue, to make sure that we also end the culture of political violence, does it in any way discourage foreign direct investments from coming into the country?
What we suggest for the government of Kenya to say let Kenyans actually understand the risks. I think the way it's been sold to Kenyans about the payment of the public debt is as if we should be made to be scared. That, look, if you're not too careful and you continue to ask us questions, then you're default and you lose your pensions and all this and all that stuff. I think to ensure that, because there's going to be paying regardless, an adult conversation about what the options the government is choosing is the superior alternative. We hope it doesn't come, because we know that even after next year's big ticket payments of the Eurobond, subsequent years will have very significant payments still required. So we think that this burden is one thing. Part of sharing the burden is to treat people with respect, right? Citizens, let's have a conversation around this question in that way. So there are no shortcuts, we agree, but perhaps the tone of the conversation could actually be more conversational as opposed to lecturing people.
Away from that, and Sitam Valley Road Church has launched an area to develop its activities to spread the gospel, known as the Sitam Valley Road Ministry Center. The area, which is a land located a few meters from Sitam Valley Road Church, has been officially launched by Bishop Callisto Odede, who was accompanied by various leaders of the church, including Deputy Bishop Reverend Justice Mugambi and the head of media in Sitam, Dismas Makanda. According to Bishop Odede, the ownership of the land is a very important step in spreading the gospel in the church, and it will help a lot, especially in terms of car parking for its believers. Our very own Veronica Wanjiro with more details.
In an exciting development today, Sitam Valley Road has made a significant investment in securing a land for parking purposes. The church, known for its vibrant congregation, recognized the need for ample parking space to accommodate its growing community. With the new land acquisition, churchgoers can now have hassle-free parking during services and activities. This kind gesture guarantees that everyone can attend services in comfort and without having to worry about navigated congested parking lots or roadside spaces. The church's decision to prioritize parking demonstrates their commitment to providing a positive experience for their members and visitors. Speaking during the dedication of the land ceremony, Bishop Callisto Odede stated that the church had to wait for a long time to be able to purchase the land, and it's only by God's mercy that they have succeeded in obtaining the site.
He will provide, and certainly He has provided for us to the extent that we are here. But in the process of going, sometimes there are obstacles, and coming here there were many obstacles. But the Lord removes all those obstacles. One of the obstacles that I had for myself, Deacon Martin, I don't know about you, but for myself, are we buying a paper? That was my main obstacle. In my mind, I would wake up dreaming, are we just buying a piece of paper?
Additionally, he said that the space will not only help the church but also alleviate parking issues in the vicinity. And the only reason they were able to obtain it was via God's mercy.
This is the work of the Lord and the doing of the Lord, and it is marvelous in our sight. He has been able to move us all the way so that we have been able to see this kind of work that He has done.
The bishop has also revealed that, in consultation with the members of the clergy of the church on the sustainability of African churches, Sitam made a financial contribution to aid Ukrainian refugees.
In terms of spiritual growth, but sustainability in terms of resources, in terms of provision. And I shared with these people some of the things that Sitam was doing, and they couldn't believe it. When I told them that, Sitam actually contributed money and we sent to assist refugees in Ukraine. They could not believe it, that a church in Africa can actually be able to do something like that. But I am convinced that God is raising us up in this generation, particularly Sitam in the continent of Africa. That some of the things that God is doing through us in Sitam will not only be stories to be told here in the continent, but they will be told worldwide how God has used a simple church in the continent of Africa to make a great impact for His glory and for His honor. And I believe in that, and I know God is opening ways for us to actually go through that direction.
Veronica Wanjiro, Hope TV Newswatch.
Veronica for that report. Residents of Matarba area in Marsabit County have expressed their grievances following the continuous heavy rains that have caused damage to their livelihoods and affected their daily activities. The residents want the national and county governments to intervene and provide a permanent solution as the roads are impassable, a situation that has halted transport and stopped various businesses from running for 4 days in a row. As our reporter Gloria Musimbi reports, the various seasonal rivers surrounding Laisami's constituency continue to fill up due to the consistent downpour.
Joshua Borano, a pastoralist in Matarba, decried the occurrences resulting from the heavy rains that have negatively impacted their livelihoods.
Sisi ambaye tegemeo letu ni mifugo, na kawaida watoto wetu tunalisha na mifugo, tukua tunapeleka mifugo yetu kwa soko. Saa hizi hakuna mahali ya kupita kupeleka hata hiyo mnyama kwa soko. Hali ya kinyumbani na kiuchumi saa hizi tumeathirika, hasa tumekosa chakula, na tena pia mfuriko hii imeanza kuleta madhara ya ugonjwa kadhaa.
The residents want the government to adherently address their grievances and ensure that the relevant department in the livestock sector provide medical services to affected livestock.
Sisi jamii ya Kargi tunalilia serikali kuu na serikali ya kaunti ya kwamba isikia kilio ya watu ya Kargi. Kilio ya watu wa Kargi saa hizi barabara zetu hazipitiki, kuna mfuriko nyingi sana. Uweze enda barabara ya kwenda Marsabit ni vigumu, barabara ya kwenda Kor ni vigumu, na hakuna gari pia inatoka upande ya sub county yetu ya Loyangalani. Kwa hivyo barabara yote ilikuwa imefungwa, hakuna kutoka na hakuna kuingia. Kwa hivyo hali ya barabara ni mbaya, ambayo kawaida inatusaidia kwa njia ya uchumi, kwa sababu soko letu kuu ni Marsabit.
On his part, Gabriel Guyo has feared the effects of the ongoing floods to be tragic, where cases of unknown diseases have caused deaths of several camels and goats.
Hiyo ugonjwa zingine ngozi na furafura, zingine inaara, zingine inakufa na zingine inakuwa kisha inakuwa imevimba. Na tumepata mvua nyingi, na hiyo mvua inaleta changamoto nyingi pande ya mbuzi. Zingine inatetemeka mpaka inaweza kufa, ingine maji inachukuliwa mpaka hata binadamu maji imechukuliwa.
Meanwhile, vets under the Sitam Church Missions team in Kargi have today medicated and treated about 2,500 livestock in Kargi, Matarba, and whole area of Marsabit County. According to vet Dr. Wanyama Simiyu, floods and climate change are a contributor to the seasonal diseases affecting cattle in the area, a situation that has caused a number of livestock deaths.
Magonjwa ambayo tumepata nayo tunaweza ihusisha na outbreak ya mvua ya mostly, kuna ile inaitwa hemorrhagic septicemia ya ngamia, kuna zile zinaitwa sheep and goat pox kwa mbuzi na kondoo, na kuna aina kadhaa ya minyoo pia ambayo tumeshapatana nayo, na tuko na madawa ya kutosha, tumeshashughulikia hizo zote. So we look forward by the end of the mission we shall have covered at least 80% of the problems which we shall have encountered on the ground.
Many would have expected that the heavy rainfall turnout in Marsabit County is a blessing in disguise. However, residents in Matarba have decried the damage caused by floods recorded in the area and want the county and national government to intervene and come up with solutions to resolve the aftermath. Reporting for TV Newswatch in Hall, Marsabit County, I'm Gloria Musimbi.
Thank you so much, Gloria, for highlighting their plight. And West Pokot Governor Simon Kachapin has reaffirmed that the schools that were affected by insecurity in troubled areas are set to reopen in January. A total of 7 schools were shut down after they were vandalized by bandits, and several others affected by insecurity along the county borders 2 years ago. These council leaders are rooting for peace and reconciliation among warring neighboring communities through dialogue and intermarriages as a way of cementing peace and minimizing conflict to enable learners to be educated in the region.
Iko tu mambo ya ukosefu wa usalama kidogo hapa kati na majirani Marakwet, na ni watu wachache. So tunataka kuunga mkono Mheshimiwa Rais wakati anasema lazima iishe. Tunataka kusema hiyo maneno lazima tumalize kwa pamoja, na lazima iishe katika serikali hii. Na kwa sababu wewe ni chairman yetu kwa ile dialogue,
Mungu kila siku. Ya pili, tuishi vyema na marafiki na majirani wetu. Kama unajua jirani yako, tafuta. Uliza kwa nini tunakombana, kwa nini hatupendani, hayo mengine yote. Na mwisho, tuweke watoto wetu shule, na tuendelee kujenga nchi ya Kenya. Mimi niko pamoja na nyinyi umuhimu tu, tutaonana na nyinyi. Kuna wakora tu wachache ambao wanatuletea shida na Marakwet. Kuna wakora wachache wa Pokot, kuna wakora wachache wa Marakwet ambao wanatugonganisha. Lakini tuko tunamaliza haya. Bahali ambapo naomba msaada wenu kabisa kwa uwakilishi ni pande ya chini. Kuna wakora ndio Turkana na wakora Pokot, lakini shida ya pande hii ya chini ni viongozi wanachochea. Na hiyo sasa ndio inalete itilafu. Wale raia wafikirie wakati gavana wao anatembea na bunduki, anachochea, anafanya nini, inakubalika. So hiyo sasa ndio inachochea na kuharibu upande ule.
You are watching Hope TV Newswatch. It's now time for a quick breather. But after the break, I'll be back with everything you need to know in the world of business and sports.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find the balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Sindio?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcast?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live. In order to keep hope alive in the airwaves, Hope Media has a couple of initiatives. Friends of Hope. Friends of Hope is you and I forming a team of well-wishers and volunteers who give in cash and kind to support in spreading the gospel at Hope Media. Currently, Hope Media is running a campaign under Friends of Hope dubbed 100 for 1. Through the campaign, Hope Media is asking Hope FM and Hope TV listeners and viewers to give just 100 shillings in order to reach one more soul with the message of hope and the gospel. Engage with us on our social media platforms at Hope FM Live and at Hope TV Kenya. Kuwa rafiki mso leo.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. A section of business people along Moi Avenue and Tomboya Streets in Nairobi's Central Business District have welcomed Governor Johnson Sakaja's move to outlaw hawking along the two streets and on pavements within roads in the CBD. Speaking to Hope TV, the business people say the hawkers were inconveniencing their businesses, hence they could not make much profit. And as Alice Diana reports, a few hawkers are still defiant of Sakaja's order.
Following Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja's move last week on banning hawking in sections of Nairobi's CBD and on walkways, majority of hawkers have obeyed the order and kept away from the streets. Our spot check along several streets in the CBD revealed that movement among people has become easy as the streets are now not overcrowded like before. A section of business people who own shops along Moi Avenue and Tom Mboya streets stated that the hawkers were selling similar goods to theirs and at cheaper prices, something that made them lose customers.
As much as sisi wote tunatafuta, kwetu iko much more advantageous juu kuna wenye tunauza similar goods, si tunazipa shop alafu wanauzia nje. So like wakiwa hapa nje wanauza much cheaper, so unapata watu wananunua hapa nje wengi kwa shop.
Wakati hawkers walikuwa hapa tulikuwa na shida because unapata wanauza same thing na ile wewe unauza na wanauza cheaper, na pia sisi tumelipa license na hawajalipa license, na pia wamefunga barabara. Alafu pia watu customer, kuna watu hawezi kuja kwa sababu wanaona ni congested, wanaona pia ilikuwa hakuna security. Unaona hata vile wako hapo kuna watu hawezi kuja, ama sometimes unaweza kuwa unauza vitu, kuna watu wanauza vitu mpaka online. Sasa ukiita customer kuja aone, umpatie direction aone hao hawkers hawakuji. Alafu pia ni wa violent. Sometimes wamefunga barabara, customer akitaka kupita akanyage ama gunia yake wanaanza kuwatusi. So tulikuwa na shida. Sababu pia unaangalia yeye anauza vitu bei, anauza the same things unauza na anauza bei rahisi. Na wewe at least unataka upate pesa, ulipe rent, na pia ulipe msichana, ulipe stima, na umelipa pia license.
According to the traders, their businesses are now doing well as their customers can now access their shops with ease.
At some point, imekuwa at least a little bit better because sahi kuna movements na walikuwa wanaleta crowding kwa streets. So kitu kingine naweza sema kwao inajua wanaweza kuwa affected sana because biashara zao ziko in standstill and they need to make money. But for us, I think it's a bit better because now people wanaingia wana shop more.
Hii at least tuko na nafuu kwa sababu tulikuwa tumefinywa sana. Ukiona hawkers wameweka paka hapa, unashinda hata customer anashindwa pila kukuja kununua stamp kwa sababu wamefunga paka kwa duka. So tulikuwa na hiyo shida sana. Haya, ukienda kama kwa barabara, imagine mpaka unapata mahali pa kutembelea ni shida. Hapo ni hawkers, hapo mwananchi ndakana utembelee pikipiki, magari. So unapata hata mtu kuumia ni rahisi. So serikali pia imesaidia. Kwa sababu gani? Badala ya kuja tupale mtu aumie, wametangulia kutoa mapema.
Security guards who work along Tom Mboya and Moi Avenue also expressed their joy with Sakaja's order, saying they were having a difficult time in dealing with the hawkers who used to close entrances leading to the shops along the streets.
Mimi naona enyewe hapa nje kumekuwa kusafi na kazi imefanywa vizuri sana. Hata aswa sana sisi kama watu wa security tunakumbana na watu hawkers. Aswa sana unapata wanafunga mlango kwa upande ya duka. Sasa unapata kuwatoa ni shida. Lakini saa hii vile kazi inaendelea hapa, Sakaja anafanya kazi mzuri sana. Kwa hivyo kwa upande ya security tumeshirikiana na Sakaja, wamefanya kazi mzuri sana. Mimi nimesema shukrani kwa kazi yenye wamefanya. Saa hii kila corridor ni safi.
A few hawkers, however, seem to be defiant of the governor's order as they could be seen selling their goods on the prohibited streets. And for those who had started selling their products before 4 p.m. in areas where hawking is not prohibited, like River Road, they were ordered out by the county askaris, with some being arrested. While issuing the orders last week during a consultative meeting between enforcement officers and representatives of the hawkers, Sakaja said the move to tame hawkers from invading pavements and sections of streets within the CBD will restore sanity and dignity to Nairobi's CBD. He further stated that the move will not only be for the safety of hawkers who risk their lives selling their commodities on the roads, but will allow motorists to move with ease. Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Alice, for the reportage. The 6th edition of the Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival has officially kicked off at the KICC in Nairobi, with calls on Kenyans to take advantage of the festival and shop for quality products at discounted prices. Hosted by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, the festival brings together Kenyan manufacturers and other stakeholders within the sector and gives them an opportunity to showcase locally made products as well as sell to their customers directly. Additionally, it brings together local manufacturers to showcase high quality made in Kenya products in line with the Buy Kenya Build Kenya strategy. The festival comes at a time when the government has increased efforts in pushing for the embrace of locally manufactured goods as a way of boosting both the economy and the sector. The festival, which began today, will run until Saturday this week.
We cannot do away with the small-scale farm. We cannot do away with the mega, because we need the mega farms to produce things that we can export, things that would support our industries, and also using the economy of scale. They will produce it cheaper, and that will bring down the cost of food in the market. So both sides, we must. And executive director, so don't do away with small-scale farmers. Otherwise, so many Africans will not have jobs.
This event, with your support, we hype it in future, so that as we engage the exhibitors, we listen to the farmers. Whenever I go to open a workshop, I normally ask, where is the farmer? Because the farmer normally speaks in few words and very frank. Sometimes the English or the language may not be right, but it means that way, and it is that way, and that is the real issues on the ground.
We received most exciting news in recognition of our work with farmers in Africa. We were named joint winner of the Al Summit Prize for African Development 2022. The prize award award applied research, science projects and initiatives with high impact.
And to some sporting action now, the NCBA chess team has been flagged off to Muscat, Oman for the FIDE World Amateur Chess Championship that will take place from tomorrow. The 9 players led by Captain Maurice Obila qualified for the tournament after they won the 2023 Kenya Corporate Chess Championship in June. The tournament is open to teams with a FIDE trade rating under 2,300.
We've been participating in a number of tournaments, notably one of them being Africa Amateur, where we came number 2. We participated in National Corporate Championship, where we are the current champion. Recently we did participate in Interbanks, where we emerged number 4. Representing Kenya is a good opportunity, but at the same time is giving us that big responsibility. Just going out there, being ambassador of the country, we are not only going to represent NCBA, we are going to represent the country. So to us that is a good challenge, but the team is up to the task and they are looking forward to representing the country and coming back with medals. We are looking forward to having more members, particularly ladies. You realize even the team that is traveling to Oman, we only have 2 ladies traveling out of 9 players. So we are out there recruiting more ladies to join the team. And 2, we are looking forward also to joining Kenya National League, which is competitive, and this is going to help us nurture our talent, practice more, and even have that right exposure.
Moving on, and Women's National League defending champions KCB will kick off the new Kenya Volleyball Federation campaign at the Koitalel Samoei University in Nandi County on Thursday and Friday this week. The Bankers will take on Vihiga County on Thursday before tackling Detectives DCI on Friday as the Munala-led charges aim to start the new season on a high note. KCB will also participate in the Heroes Community Tournament organized by the Kenya Volleyball Federation that will be held at the same venue on the 4th and 5th of November. And finally, Inter Miami star Lionel Messi has won the Ballon d'Or for a record 8th time, fending off competition from Manchester City striker Erling Haaland after leading Argentina to the World Cup last year. Messi became the first MLS-based player to claim the coveted prize, although the triumph comes largely on the back of his exploits with his country in Qatar. Former Manchester United player and Inter Miami co-owner David Beckham handed Messi the award in Paris, France. Haaland, who scored 52 goals last season as City won the treble in 2022-2023, finished second in the voting and won the Gerd Muller Trophy, given to the best striker of the year.
23 Ballon d'Or France footballer is Lionel Messi.
Standing ovation, please.
I know the debate between Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi on who is the greatest of all time continued yesterday night, but it's what a time to be alive to celebrate these two footballers in our time. Anyway, with that, we come to the end of our news tonight. Many thanks to you for watching Hope TV Newswatch. On behalf of the whole team that made this broadcast a success, have yourselves a blessed night. My name is Kennedy Kimani, and my co-presenter on the sign language interpretation has been Boniface Moreti.